Well, good evening, everybody. It's a pleasure to be back. George Morgan here at your service. It's PSGL, it's Wednesday night, it's Spain tonight as well. Lots on the table, lots of battling. The title contest is still alive and kicking. And Jack, it's only taken us 10 rounds. We're on the 11th. It's all to play for.
Boromant goes on the inside and takes the lead on the final lap of the race. Now it's side by side between Boromant and Warner, but Boromant's got the inside.
Literally a guest star here in this phenomenal race. Cameron Dowd looking to take P2 in his very first PSGL F1 PC race. Incredible to say the least. You see that Putin to lead. 1.5 seconds. DRS is the name.
Good evening, everybody, and a very warm welcome to PSGL Season 35, round number 7, as we take you on the Marina Bay circuit for the Singapore Grand Prix, the updated version, of course, where they got rid of some parts of the last sector, which I prefer in my opinion. One of my favourite tracks on the F1 game, but some drivers may beg to differ because it's quite long. My name is GeForce, and joining me once again is Mr. James Head. James, how you doing?
I'm doing really well, Jess. Yeah, Singapore is going to be very interesting indeed in terms of the action, that new changed layout. Plenty of overtaking, plenty of action in F2 as well from a little bit early on. This could be a very good race. Let's see how the drivers get on.
Yes, let's hope though, James, that they don't go free wide in towards turn number 7, because we know how chaotic that was in PSF2. So PSF1 drivers, let's hope they learn. But the story from last week around Monza was that Cameron Dowd took his first PSF1 win, which was absolutely insane to see. He's now got 19 points to his name in a 12th position. And to be honest, he's finding his form back again. He's trying to get his way back up into the championship. We've seen zero to hero stories before, and he just delivered last week.
Yeah, he really did. Cameron Dowd's fantastic stuff out on track. He drove like a really astute, class driver. Obviously, it was tight between him and Kazizel towards the end of the race. Kazizel, of course, picking up second position. He's moved into fourth, of course, in the championship after that race. GL picking up his first podium finish in PSGL since his return, since his glory days back in the day. And I think I mentioned it to the young guard against the protagonist against the old guard, or something like that in commentary last week. And that's exactly how it was for the top 3. What did that do to the championship? Well, Urpex, still with no points last week at Monza, still leads the championship, but it's only 5 points. Aurelian, who's having wheel issues, is there in second on 38. Max Gore's partner there in third on 34. Then Kazizel fourth on 31. Ben's a fifth on 25, along with Nando on 25. My favourite to win here tonight. Volokongan and Marcados on 24. Then Louis Valentin and Jeroen rounding off the top 10. Louis Valentin, of course, having that next ban. He's not showing. Tim replacing him here tonight. And to run through as well the stewards report very quickly before we do get underway. 1 5-second penalty added to Jeroen's time. Doesn't affect where he finished overall. 2 license points, and that was because of... And he also picked up a... Actually, there's 2 parts to this. 2 license points for Jeroen, 5 seconds added for his final time, and that was for causing a collision. Jeroen braked too late into turn 1 and rear-ended Marlon. Francesco, in that incident for part B, also got a warning and a license point, and that was for causing a collision. Francesco was also seen braking too late in turn 1 and hitting another driver, forcing them to cut turn 2 in the process. So, first time I think I've seen a stewards report having 2 parts to it.
Yeah, and luckily no much compared to Las Vegas, for example, and the race before that as well. It was a clean Monza race, which I have to say. I was quite shocked that it wasn't as chaotic as that. I was dreading going into that Monza race that we were going to have these type of incidents, but it was generally quite clean going into turn number 1 as well, which shows the high caliber drivers we've got this season. The driving standards, I have to say, James, has been a lot better than last season, probably because of the new game, of course, and maybe the handling model is a lot better as well, and they're just getting more used to it as the game cycle goes on. So a lot better from the drivers, of course, and we're about to get underway for another night race of the season, and you probably can't see it at the moment, and James is absolutely delighted in the camera and the commentary box. It is raining in Singapore.
And it's full wet. as well, which is going to be very interesting for the drivers out on track. My reaction, I think, says it all. That's going to go on out of context F1 a little bit later on.
Do it.
But it's good. It's good news for very, very good drivers out on track, like your likes of Benza, potentially, who could be up there. Coming down strong in the wet. Just looking through the field, Nando, one of my favourites for pole position, if I haven't mentioned that already. He likes the wet around here because he won elsewhere in the wet around here. Aurelian, going to be interesting to see if he's got his problems fixed. Urpek as well. Plenty to be had out on track. Barak there coming in the chat. KK for the win. Nando, big favourite. Yeah, Nando is definitely a big favourite coming into tonight. And the Bard Tsunami saying, hello, how's everything? And how are you guys as commentators doing? We are doing very, very well. Hope you're enjoying the stream so far. We have got the drivers, though, about to get out on track first of all. And I think there's an AlphaTauri of OP Benza coming out the pit lane first.
Yes, it is Benza going out of the pit lane first as I just get the scene ready. And look at how treacherous these conditions are. I mean, it's the longest circuit. It tests the driver's endurance and skill, as I was pointing out earlier on in my tweet or post, because it's not called tweet anymore. As you can see, Benza is showing why you could possibly do rallying around in these wet conditions other than Formula 1. But an interesting fact about this track was one of two new street tracks introduced as part of the 2008 F1 season. And then when Valencia was ditched from the calendar after the 2012 event, Marina Bay Circuit Singapore remained on the calendar instead of Valencia, and a lot of drivers like it. And of course Herman Tilke designed it, like he's done most Formula 1 tracks on this game as well. One of the most compelling elements of the track was the Singapore sling, the Anderson Bridge as well, as Bender's going on at the moment. Turn 10 was a bit more narrow back in the day as well. In 2009 there was a few changes where the curbing was reduced, so the corner become less of a challenge, but we saw the likes of Adrian Sutil and Kobayashi fell victim to that in recent years as well, so that was quite challenging as well. And we also got some PSGL stats as well. Last time we were here, season 33, Max took victory from Marlon in second and Nando in third, so you could possibly see why James has picked Nando as one of his picks for the win, and Marlon as well, who Marlon was the one who did a really bold strategy and went on to finish second. I think he stayed on one tyre for a very long time. Matthew Older won here as well. Mish won here in season 28. Timon Shoots won in season 27. Louis Welsh, season 24. And the list goes on. James, take us for on board a lap with Benza.
That's if we can see turn number 1 on board with them, because the rain is absolutely teeming down out on track. The lights really glazing on my camera angle, certainly through there. Coming down through the left-hander at turn number 3, through the left-hander at turn number 4. You can get an invalidation lap on the left-hand side here, as Flopman found out with a 3-second penalty in F2 earlier on. As Benza now comes through the right-hander at turn number 5, down the infamous Raffles Boulevard, where we saw that 3-wide moment in F2. But we've also seen plenty of overtakes in real life Formula 1. 31-1 in the first sector. The driver's more likely going to be around the 150 mark rather than the 130 mark here in qualifiers. We now come to the right-hander of turn number 8 and in towards Penang corner at turn number 9 before embarking down in towards the old Singapore sling, the old S section, of course, that used to be here. Now just the left-hander these days. Capital of Singapore, by the way, is Singapore's. We now come to the left-hander of turn number 10 at the Singapore sling before the infamous Anderson Bridge. And Benza, very cold on his tyres, looking to really attack the Anderson Bridge, even in these conditions. Very, very hard to do so. And look at that car control. Now coming to the left-hander of turn 13 at the hairpin, passing one of the infamous domes on the right-hand side. Very similar to the Millennium Dome, actually, in London. 16.6 in the middle sector from him. And Benza looking pretty good, I've got to say, in this time. Obviously not going to be as quick as what we normally see in the drives, but this is still absolutely on the edge. You've got to have very good car control. Every single driver has got to have that car control. So now come underneath the underpass. He's nearly gone very deep there into 16 and 17. Just about recovers the car. Lost him a couple of tenths of a second through there. Now through the left hand. It's going to be around a 146-47 mark to pick up the session. Benza to the line. 46.5. But Jess, because we're in wet conditions, Benza could easily go for another lap.
Yes, I think so as well. And Benza is known as the Charles Leclerc of this league, I have to say. Takes pole positions, but misses out on the win quite narrowly as well, which is not ideal for him as well. We're on board with Aurelian at the moment, currently second in the championship, and he was asked about how his season was going by the new Twitter account, League Racing Report, and if you haven't followed them, make sure you give them a follow. The lovely George Morgan owns that account, and he made it yesterday evening, and I thought I would give that a shout out because he plugged us, so we thought, you know what, we'll plug them. So check that out. We'll put the link in the chat as well if you haven't already seen it. But he's saying that he's been quite unlucky this season. He got rear-ended twice in Monza last week. He's still aiming for his first win as well. And like we were saying, he was having problems with his shifter, but he is here tonight, raring to go, and he's come across the line in P4. Cameron Dowles, James, the race winner from last week, comes out on top by a few tenths of a second. Marlon, who finished second in season 33, is in a P2. He's heading towards turn 7 now, and expect drivers to be on these tyres for a little bit longer. They won't go into the pits yet. Tim was experimenting on the inters, and so I can safely say it's not a good idea for the reserve driver tonight in the Alfa Romeo.
No, he was 1.5 seconds off on Benza in that middle sector compared to him on a full set of wets. But the inters will definitely come into play. It actually looks like the rain is getting a little bit lighter just in the pit lane. Just visibly, it looks a little bit lighter in the pit lane, obviously with the cars stopping out on track. But it is getting lighter out on track. I'm on board with your own. Coming up now the straight in towards the right-hander of turn 16 and 17. I think he's on a down lap right now. But Yaron definitely getting lighter out on track, so the rain is already beginning to try and stop. It's going to be intermediate conditions very, very shortly indeed, so we will see more drivers elect for that. Corey is certainly one that's going to elect for that, as Yaron goes into 7th with a 46.482. Wiener is actually 1600 even behind him on a 146.498. So very, very tight indeed. Urpek is coming now across the Anderson Bridge as I ride on board with him. Very close, that inside wall there, through turn 12, then in towards 13 at the hairpin, and a 31-1 in that first sector. Marlon goes quicker now, 45 flat. Do not be surprised if you see majority drivers out on track. Urpek, again, is around a 46, is around a 16.6 that middle sector, so around Benza's sort of lap time, but he's on this first stint, he's on this first run, on this full set of wets, so they're not going to be coming online next lap around. If he was to save a little bit, which it seems like he is, he will go even quicker on that lap as the championship leader now comes through the final couple of corners. Marlon from Cameron Dowd from Keki top 3, and Urpek has absolutely duped me and you into the pit lane just because he's actually in.
But there's one driver who's out on circuit currently, and that's Nando, who's saying a purple sector 2 on my end. Hopefully it's not a glitch, and if Nando doesn't win tonight, then he's going to prove James wrong, and James will look like a fool. But Nando been looking very good at these type of circuits in the past. Has won here before in other leagues. He goes up to the line.
Not bad.
Only third, which is pretty good to see as well. And we are starting to see people pick intermediate, and there's hardly any standing water at all around the circuit. So it is getting a lot better. Anyone else out on circuit at the moment? We've got Kazizel. He's diving it into the pit lane. Stefano just about avoids the wall there as he heads towards turn, I think, number 8. Now heading towards turn number 9 and 10. Absolutely love that part of the circuit, but you don't want to clip the curb too much because it really unsettles the car very much as well. So they're going to wait until the conditions get better and then go out on a Seb Inter. There's one driver, though, that's braving it out on a Seb Intermediates, James, and that's Volakongan.
It is Volakongan, yeah. Volakongan's on an outlap right now. Benz's on an outlap. Tim on an outlap as well. Corey is actually the first one just to start the lap time. He's just coming across the line there in towards turn number 1. We'll see on ball with him, see how the Inters get on. But he's got a little bit of traffic actually coming out the pit lane. One of the Hassas there getting out the way swiftly to the right-hand side. I think that's Radadel on a lap. But Corey, through this first sector, I'll see what he is setting in terms of this first sector. Volakongan, I think, is going to be next up across the line. Corey now coming through the right-hand on towards Raffles Boulevard at turn 5. Now down Raffles Boulevard, and this first sector is very quick. It's a 31-1 in that first sector, pretty much where Benza was in terms of his first lap time. Corey is around that. Of course, lap times will get quicker and quicker and quicker. Yellow flags, do not worry about them. It's just drivers backing off on an outlap right now. But Corey, so far, so good, I've got to say, Jess, on this lap.
Yeah, so I think that it's proven that the Inters are the best tyres to be on right now. And if you're on the wets, then the tyres are going to get hotter and hotter, and it's just no point as well. But I think Corey's going to do a few laps so he can just get his tyres up to temperature. So maybe you'll back off after this one and then go out again potentially as well, because if it's raining in the race, you want to save some inters for that, because you don't get too much under your disposal as well. We got more people on laps on the intermediate tyres. Tim is one of them who went into the pit lane. We'll see what his sector one is. 30.994. I don't know what he's at in comparison with Corey, but it's looking quite good. Quicker. It says purple on my end, but again, that's out the drivers around him because he hasn't set a lap time yet. Heading towards the final few corners. Nails that right, does Corey. You can see that there's a lot more grip around this circuit. Up to the line he goes. The old the driver from PC, but was PS at one point, goes second fastest, but it's Jeroen on wet. Still managing to go faster with a 44.6. I think there's still time in him if he went on the intermediate tyres. Volakonga's going through sector one now, but let's go on board with Tim. I think you could see he struggled a little bit heading towards the second part of the lap. So I wonder if he's going to find more time there. And there's a lot of traffic getting on in the final set. There's a few drivers about to start their laps.
Yeah, definitely. So Tim, though, was up in the middle sector. He's got to go pole, even if he hits the wall, coming out of turn 16, 17. I hope that's not a commentator's curse incoming, but Tim looking very, very good. Oh, nearly hit the wall. Goodness me, that was almost a commentator's curse. Comes to the left-hand. It's going to be Paul. He's going to go out on top of Jeroen and a 43.5. Yeah, he could have made a mistake. He could have even lost his front wing through that final corner. I think he still would have been quicker on a lap. Jeroen there in second. He's still sticking out there at the minute on a set of wet compound tyres. So he's out of sync compared to everyone else. Volakonga in the middle sectors. Benza goes quickest, 42.3, but Volakonga is 2.6 seconds up in that middle sector. Purple out of everyone through that middle sector. We'll see what the Shazoo man can do. He has got a little bit of traffic. It's an Alfa Romeo getting out of the way to the right-hand side. Now,
I think that's Tim, I think.
Yeah, it is Tim, I think. It's actually Techie, I think, on an outlap even. Volakonga coming through the right-hander of 17, and now in toward the double left of turns 18 and 19. Is Volakonga going to go quicker than Benza? No, goes second, but still plenty of time to be found in terms of this lap time. We should see 140s before the end of the before the end of qualifying even.
Before the end of the race, James? Oh my goodness, we're not at the end of the race yet, but yeah, I have to agree that I think more time is going to be found from some of these drivers. Volakonga getting quite close to Benza, but unfortunately not making it. Stefano's about 1.1 seconds up, so the track is getting quicker. Aurelian, who's currently P2 in the championship, let's see what he could do. He goes third. We got, I think, we got Erpek actually going up to the line, your current championship leader, and he goes fastest with a 142.298. He's also been asked how his season has gone. He's felt like he's went good for him because he's managing to score points, even though it may not be good points in some races. He got a podium in one race and won, I think, in round 2. He wasn't too optimistic going into it, and he felt like the calendar didn't suit him. But I think going into the rest of the season, he's got a new lease of life because he knows that he can handle tracks which may not suit his style and taste at the moment. And he thinks he could challenge the likes of Aurelian and have a really, really good fight with him, which was really, really interesting to see. Nice to see that he's adapting to the tracks that he may not be too confident in as well. And he's having a really good debut season in the top tier.
Oh, he is. He is. He's took it to like a duck to water, really, Erpek so far. I mean,
Marlon.
Literally, duck to water as Marlon goes quicker, 41.8, and actually bettered by Stefano with a 41.3. Didn't last that long out in front, did Marlon. But Stefano there out on top, Marlon second, Erpek there in third. Benza was 4 tenths up, by the way, on Erpek in that middle sector before he decided and elected to come in the pit lane. It looks like Cameron Dowd is on a lap as well. I think he's coming out through the right-hander underneath the underpass of 16 and 17. Looking good as the Scotsman now coming through into the final couple of corners, but he's actually not because he's coming in the pit lane. Ryan has gone quicker, though, with a 41 flat. My man for pole position right now is down in 15th position. It's not looking good for the man, Mr. Nando Moreira, I should say, in 15th position right now. He did win a race, though, the last 2 nights, so hopefully Nando's got that form coming into tonight, and let's see what the Portuguese man can do. I'll follow him through the first sector, see what he's like compared to everyone else, but it could be the case, Jess, where last across the line gets pole position. So whoever's last out on track has got a fair crack at getting pole position.
That is a really good statement, I would say, for the drivers. I wonder if any of the drivers will be listening to the stream there. But it's time to get your thoughts in the chat. James will be looking at the chat for me to see what your views are of this qualifying session. Who do you think is going to get pole position? Let us know in the live chat. And who are you rooting for as well? We are watching Nando, 1.6 seconds. Your man is doing very, very well at the moment. Of course, we show impartiality, but James likes to beat me in terms of predictions. He likes to beat me across everything, not gonna lie. I'm not surprised at the moment, as Marlon goes fastest again with a 140.899. I think we got Nando's teammate on another lap, maybe. We'll see, unless he backs off. He goes, oh, he's 9 seconds down, so I think he's gonna go for another lap again, because he's got plenty of ERS. Yes, he is. So let's watch on board with Nando once more as he goes back through the bridge as well. James, have you had any predictions?
Nothing came through just yet. Nando, though, 3.9 seconds up in the middle sector. Purple again, and that's even with Ryan going quicker. So Nando flying, and I think he made a mistake, if I'm not mistaken, through the final sector as well. I was having a look at his POV, seeing how he gets on. Nando, though, coming in toward the right-hander of the underpass, coming through 16 and then through the left-hander turn number 17. He could go now with his hands, with a handstand in the bottom of the car, and he'll still go quicker. Now coming through the final corner, Nando on the run line. Does he go quicker than Ryan? Just 40.3. If that wasn't quicker, I would have eaten my own hat, quite literally. Nando out on top, though. Ryan in second. Marlon there in third. Drivers on the lap as well, including VSL Corey. 30.2 in the first sector, so he's actually down on Nando through that first sector, and down again on Nando in the middle sector. 13.8 in the middle sector. It was a 112.9, I think it was, for Nando. So Corey is down in the middle sector, but he is improving.
He is improving, so he's going to see if he can try and climb his way up from 15th position. The only man, by the way, who has to set a lap time is Kazizzle, and we do know Kazizzle likes to set a lap at the very end, so watch out for him. Don't count him out. I think I'm going to make a bold prediction. I think Kazizzle's going to get pole. So, even though he's last at the moment, you think, Jess, why do you think he's going to get pole? He always likes to set laps at the very end and do well. As Corey sets his lap into P7. Oh, that is our first blocking. I thought we weren't going to get any, but look at that traffic in the final set. You can see on the mini-map right behind. Wiener picks up 2 Grace plays grid penalties, but luckily it won't get carried over anyway. There's no PSGL stream without them. Tim on a lap, Tom on a lap as he starts sector 1. But let's watch Tim. Nando is improving as well, but let's go on board with Tim first, and then we'll go to Nando as he tries to make his way through the traffic. He does that very well. Almost an invalidation up to the line. Only 6 fastest, but let's watch our provisional pole man as he heads towards the final few corners.
Beautiful.
He looks very confident going into that last few corners, more than the last lap actually. So I think it's going to be in the 140.2. So only a slight improvement, but still, he even beaten his own lap time, which is impressive. We've got Aurelian on a lap as well. He's the next man to cross the line. I'm thinking if there's any more in the chat. He is up as well. And yeah, it shall be interesting to see how that goes on. I think the next one to cross the line in a minute will be, it's not Peck, I think it's one of the Alpines, that is Corey. So it will be Corey, then it will be, no, it will be Aurelian, then it will be Corey.
Yeah, here comes Aurelian. Actually, the Frenchman now on the run to the line. Has Nando done enough for 40.2? I think he has for now. Aurelian goes 4th. 40.681. Marlon was finding time in that first sector as well. I think he's going to be one of the next to come across the line. Corey, as you mentioned, is 5/10 up, so Corey could actually land this. Coming to the line, goes 8th position, 41.330. Still a respectful improvement. Marlon's only 2/10 up, so he's not doing enough, but he is on par with Nando in the middle sector. So if he finds time in this final sector, Marlon could be looking at pole position. Stefano is down on a lap time as well, but he improves at 10th and a half. Does Nando go out on top? You're on there, 15th position. Cameron Dowd's there, with Tom going 7th. Cameron Dowd's is going to be one of the next to come across the line as well. See what Marlon's doing. 4th for Marlon right now. Anybody else improving? Cameron Dowd goes quickest. Urpek, though, is going to absolutely obliterate them, it seems. Urpek now through the final corner on the run to the line. Does he go quicker? No, well off in the end. 8th position, 9th now with Benza going quicker. Somebody's just gone up. Pecky has gone 3rd. Very good lap time from him. Rotterdam to the line. Absolute frantic end to that session. Nando, I think, because of the time that he had, and because of the lack of time that he had, he couldn't really get another run in. That's why he's not on pole position. It is Cameron Dowd on top. 7,000ths of a second. You cannot get any closer than that. Nando there in second, Keki there in third, Stefano there in fourth. Good job, the other Stefano was not alongside him in the third row of the grid. Morcado's in fifth. Moreland in sixth, Ryan there in seventh. A whole host of Germans there with a rally in an eighth, Benzer and ninth. Erpek, championship leader, rounding off the top 10. And Tim in 11th, Volokongan 12th, Kazizel there in 13th, Stefano there in 14th. Tom there in 15th. He was 7th, I think, at one stage before everyone came in with their laps. Ryder in 16th. A second covering the top 16. It's not actually that bad. Curry there in 17th. And Francesco 18th. Winner there in 19th. And Yerone not getting a lap time in out of sync compared to everyone else at the bottom end of the field. But Cameron Dowd's just out on top from Nando in second. Nearly.
Yes, indeed. We'll see how he does in the race. But before we go to the main action, let's have a quick word from our title sponsor, GT Omega. We'll see you in 30 seconds. Welcome back to some more PSGL PSF1 action, and it was a wet qualifying with a difference. It started off in the full wet conditions, and then it was intermediates. We thought it was going to dry, but it didn't dry, and it stayed in throughout the entirety, and it was one of the drivers who crossed the line last who won that one, and it was Cameron Dowd who got pole position for today's Singapore Grand Prix, and we are about to have a lobby restart as tradition because I was having about Wiener legal blocking twice there in that one as well. But Cameron Dowd's continuing his form from Monza last week. We've seen that with many drivers in real life. Once they find their form, they just try to want to continue that and push, and want to strive for even more. We saw that with George Russell when he got his first F1 point. Same with Mick Schumacher. When he finally got their first F1 points, we stopped talking about them because you know they did it. That's the same for Cameron Dowd.
It is the same from Cameron Dowd's. Form is one thing, class is permanent though, and I think his class has carried him through there in qualifying. Nando, obviously, as I say, out of sync slightly compared to everyone else, and I think it was that didn't get him on pole position in the end. Cameron Dowd was in that group of cars, that gaggle of cars that came out very late on in the day, and Cameron Dowd in the end was the one that qualified out on top. And I literally said in qualifying about a couple of minutes beforehand, last across the line, or near enough last across the line, will get pole position. That's exactly what happened. Cameron Dowd, Nando went early, didn't pay off in the end. Cameron Dowd and Keki did go late, and they've ended up first and third in terms of qualifying. So very, very good showing from them. Giving a big shout out as well to F7R Stefano. Stefano, I think that's his best qualifying of the season, if I'm not mistaken, in fourth. Fantastic effort from the Aston Martin, clearly loving the wet conditions, but one bit of qualifying is different to the other, to the race, of course, that is. And it looks like, judging by what we saw just at the start of the lobby, when, of course, we're getting refreshed and everything, it looks like there's going to be a dry start to the race. So at least they're going to be starting on the dry compounded tyre.
Yes, and with the dry compounded tyres, since they didn't use it in the qualifying session, they get 3 sets. So they will have about 3 sets of softs. They go for the balanced option. And I think with these type of tracks, I definitely considered it when I was doing a few league races around Singapore. I think I've done about 2. Got podiums in both of them, 1 in 1. Just saying, cheeky plug. I felt like the harder was the best option because realistically, the softs are not going to be the best tyre to go on around Singapore. It doesn't last at all. According to our notes, it lasts about 8-9 laps, but no. I doubt that's going to be the tyre to be on tonight. Most people are going to start on the medium compounded tyres as they do anyway, or even the hards. We see it having a lot of people try the hard strategy. We even see quite a lot of people do the overcut strategy more than anything, because we always talk about, James, haven't we, why, undercut's so powerful on this game. But this could be maybe one of the tracks where we see more people going for the overcut rather than the undercut.
Yeah, overcut is so much more powerful around here. I was commentating in the other league for the other team event, and the overcut was so much more powerful. Nando ended up winning that race, by the way, and I'm hedging my bets once again that he will win from the front row of the grid. But he overcut, he pitted in lap 17 from a set of hard compound tyres to a set of mediums. That was pretty much, watching F2, me and Jess were watching F2 before we came live, and F2 was pretty much the same. Drivers coming in around about lap 17, lap 18. That seems to be the optimal time to come in from a set of hard compound tyres to a set of mediums. Interesting, actually, because I've got a photo from Markedos there in the chat, and his hard compound tyres, they go to around about 45% left in terms of the tyres when they decide to come in the pit lane. And that, I think, is with him pitted in on lap 17. Then onto a set of medium compound tyres, it's just less than 50% wear on that set of mediums towards the back end of the race. So that is why you prioritise the overcut, prioritise the mediums. Two-stop strategy, by the way, around here. Not that it's ever going to happen. Mediums, softs, potentially the ones to go for. Soft compound tyres jump off at about a 9% average rate around this track. So definitely going to be interesting to see. And also interesting to see, also for Markedos' screen, apparently there's a rain cloud at the end of the race.
Ooh, interesting. We haven't seen that much changeable conditions in this season. We haven't seen much rain this season, and it has to come in Singapore, one of the longest tracks in terms of time on the calendar. Guys, I hope you have your water on you, especially us two in the commentary box, because we are definitely going to need it. We are just waiting, by the way, for the lobby to get underway. Ryan is going to be setting up the grid. Everyone has made their way to the lobby as quick as lightning, as it were. So thank you very much to all the drivers for that one as well. Just a quick reminder of what you can expect throughout the week. We got Tuesday, the GT7 League will be racing around France. I can't remember what track it is on the top of my head around France, but it is going to be around there. It's around 8 o'clock UK time. And on Wednesday, we got the final race of the E-Series. And I did make a note about what track it is, because I keep forgetting every week when I plug E-Series to what track it was. So I did my research. It is Saudi Arabia is the final E-Series race with Nathan Richards and not Joshua Birch. Unfortunately, he's unwell. GM, who's going to be taking you through the action on that one around Jeddah, which I commentated over the weekend, and it's really fun. But no time like the present. It's time to get underway with Singapore.
It is time to get underway with Singapore. Lucas Pegg, by the way, in the chat saying, let's go Jess Games and big head chat. I didn't know I had a big head. It might be this receding hairline that I might have on the top of my head, as somebody pointed out about 2 weeks ago. But hopefully we could get underway very soon indeed. Judging by some of the comments that are coming through actually in the Discord, it looks as if we are going to have potentially a draw race. We're going to get started as well at 8:34, so around 2.5 minutes roughly until the lights will go green. So hopefully that is going to be good. Tom mentioned about goals of qualifying. I think that's in relation to Benza, if I'm not mistaken.
The Charles Leclerc.
Tom in the end. Yeah, the Charles Leclerc of qualifying. Tom also mentioning that he's P15. Oh, he was mentioning himself saying the goal to qualifying, and he was P15 in the end. So yeah, I can't really take goal of qualifying and P15. It's more like me and my D4 horns. But the less we say about that, the better, I think. But we are going to get racing very soon indeed. Judging by what the weather has been put as, it looks like it is going to be a relatively dry race. As I say, that threat of rain at the end of the race could be there if it has been put in the custom weather. It could be the case, though, where, remember, in Las Vegas, which you weren't here for, Jess, but Las Vegas in terms of the weather, it's one of those where, obviously, the wet compound tyres right at the end of the race, the wet compound tyres didn't actually come, and the rain only come final 2 laps of the race. So it could be the case where we get spots of rain out on the final 2 laps, and it's absolutely biblical in terms of the rain portion.
Yeah, I think the only chance that there could be rain that could affect the race will potentially be, I think, if there were safety cars. But with this grid, there's hardly been that much safety cars this season. I think the only exception, Las Vegas, of course, very tricky circuit. Whereas Singapore, probably a lot easier than previous games in terms of handling, but it's going to test the driver's skill, endurance, and maybe even mental capacity as well. They're going to be in their cockpit for quite a long time, navigating a really different circuit compared to the other ones on the calendar. and it is a street circuit, so it is going to, I think, test everyone's minds, including us in the commentary box. But before we head to the main action, plug to our sponsors, GTM Mega, 5% off all GTM Mega products by using the code PSGL at checkout. Plus, GTM Mega are doing something very special. James, they're doing something for Christmas, aren't they?
They are indeed. Festive sale is currently on as well. So if you want to get a late Christmas present for anyone, now is the time. I think they've got 6 of their most popular items on for less than £250. So
Wow.
ask your parents nicely if you're underage and if you can't afford it yourself. Let's see how that goes, and hopefully you can get a late Christmas present as a result. But hopefully the action is about to start very much out on track. Let's hope we can see some really good action out on track, and let's hope an early Christmas present is well and truly needed.
Yes, an early Christmas present for us will be a good race as we are about to get underway. The 5 red lights are on, and it is go, go, go for the final time in 2023. Let's see who gets a good start. Cameron Dowles pulls the inside of turn number 1 very nicely. We got one of the Alfa Romeos trying to go down the inside of Nando, but couldn't quite do it as well. We got some more action in the background. Tim trying to go around the outside in towards turn number 3. We got Marcos making his way through. Marlon up into 5th place as well. All clean so far, but I think turn number 7 could be the test for these drivers, as Keke doing very well in 3rd, but it's Cameron Dowles from Nando, from Keke, from Stefano, who's dropped 1 place, Marcos in 5th, Marlon in 6th, then we got Ryan, Aurelian at Benza, and Tim, your top 10, as Tim trying to pull to the right-hand side in towards the end of the first set, and now the start of the second set, but couldn't quite do it, but very clean start for Singapore. I'm very, very impressed.
Yeah, very, very clean start. I think Francesco, Jeroen and Corey might have got caught up in an incident coming through turn number 8. But apart from that, I think everyone is clean through it. Actually, I think a spy, Jeroen has got left side end plate damage. But I think he's the only one in that field on a set. Yeah, he has got left side end plate damage. He's the only one that's actually got damage. Throughout the field, as soon as I say that, Stefano has spun coming through the hairpin. It looks like Tom has spun coming through the hairpin there as well. I'm not sure if there was a little bit of contact there. Cameron Dad's still leading the way towards the end of lap 1. Nando in 2nd, Keke in 3rd. Stefano will be interesting one. He's the only driver on a set of medium compound tyres. So clearly feeling he's got the pace on that set of mediums and then can perform the undercut. Has he read the script though? Because the undercut is not more powerful than the overcut around here. And it's the overcut you want to be on. As Stefano now attacks Keke in towards turn number 1. Is he going to get the job done on the fin? Yes, he does. The F7 man through and he's into 3rd, just about getting the car stopped, but he is through and he's into 3rd.
Unfortunately, the camera angle didn't take it quite justice, unfortunately, which is very annoying. But great job on Stefano so far, as we got Ferrari 2-3, which is great to see. And we know that the constructors is important as well as the drivers in this league. A lot of them take it very, very seriously as well. Cameron Dowles has already put off a 1.1 second gap already over Nando. He's breaking free of DRS. I wonder if it's going to be a battle between those two for the win tonight. Jeroen goes into the pit lane to repair his damage to the car, and he's going on to a set of the mediums. He'll probably do a double medium stint till the end, because he's already used 1 at different tyre compound. As Ryder does get past Erpek. Erpek was struggling a little bit in Monza last week. He doesn't seem to like this track, and it is definitely showing. Your championship leader at the moment not going to be scoring any points, and with the likes of Aurelian in 8th, he's going to close in quite a bit, and I think it's 3 points for 8th place, so then the gap's going to be brought down to 2 points in the championship. But we will see other drivers close in as well, so you never know what's going to happen with them and who's going to be leading the championship in that front. So I'm a bit shocked to see Erpek down there, but this is a great chance now for Aurelian to close in. It's going to be tricky though, of course, because he does have shifter problems, but I think he's still doing all right considering the problems that he's had today.
Yeah, definitely. So obviously he's going to be off the pace compared to everyone else in that regard, as well as was mistake in the background. That was Erpek making the mistake. Coming to the left-hand return number 19. Just saw that in the background. Wiener's got through and he's into 14th. Erpek is not enjoying things out in front at all. He's there in 15th position. Had a dreadful start. Got overtaken around the outside by Volokongan at turn 8 on lap 1. Definitely not the place you want to be. He's dropping down the field. He's got Wiener now in his sights, actually. DRS now enabled, of course, on this lap, but I think he's just going to sit and wait in behind. In fact, he hasn't got the pace because Wiener is using that ERS just to try and defend, and Erpek there remains in 15th position. But a very, very good start by everyone, which is really, really good. Dirk there saying in the chat, What if Cameron Dowds changes PSN from for Cammy Dowds? I don't even know that myself. So answers on a postcard, please, with that one. But he is doing out on top. No matter if he's called Cammy or if he's called Cameron, he's doing well out on top. Nando there in second, Stefano there in third. But I think Ferraris, if they want to try and just play the team game, because they're of course 7th in the championship coming into tonight. 33 points to their name. Nando and Mubarak, of course, the full-time drivers, but Stefano, of course, being a reserve. I believe he doesn't pick up points for Ferrari. I might be mistaken, but
they don't.
He doesn't pick up points for points. So Stefano essentially can be used as a guinea pig. Obviously, there's the whole rule around collusion and everything. But if I was him, as Nando's just on wide, couldn't see the final corner there, I would actually swap these guys. Stefano has got very limited ERS, which would be the concern. But I would swap Stefano for Nando. Get Stefano on the pace. See if he's got the pace on those.
I think we lost James for a little bit. He's cut off a little bit, so hopefully he will join us very, very soon. I think it's his connection that he's lost at the moment. Meanwhile, Stefano trying to go for a move down the inside.
I don't think there'll be much made at this stage.
I think you cut off for us a little bit there, James. As Stefano makes his way up to P2. James, are you back?
Yeah, I'm back.
Oh, good. Yeah, we were talking over each other, and I'm not sure I know if it's Discord having a hissy fit, but there we go. Stefano made a move on now up into second. Positions gained out of all the drivers. The biggest gainer has got to be Ryder Dow and obviously Stefano up 3 and 2 positions respectively. Kazizzle up 2 places. We got Corey up 2 places as well. Biggest loser was OP Stefano because he lost 4 places. Even though Jeroen had to change his front wing in the pit lane, technically because he started 20th, he hasn't gained or lost anything. So the only way to go for him is up. Stefano is now within DRS range of Cameron Dowds. So now Stefano's got past Nando. He's going to be able to push. I'm very impressed with Stefano's pace around this track. Of course, he's a former PSF2 champion many seasons ago, and he's definitely showing his upper hand here in this championship. Actually, no, I'm not sure he was an F2. Oh, it was Frankie that was an F2 champion. I'm getting my things mixed up. But he did dominate the F2 scene one season, and he made his way up into F1. But this is the F7R Stefano that we know. This is why F7R has picked him up to join their team. This is the pace we're seeing. And they almost got a bit squirmy heading towards turn number 4 and 5.
God, I thought he was going to stop for the turn 5 there. God almighty, he was close to that wall with Stefano. I was on board with that as well. I was thinking, God, he's going to hit the wall here. He's going to hit the wall. But luckily he didn't. He gets away with it. And he's actually gapped Nando now. So all of that with me saying they've got to work together as a team, that's definitely not the case right now. But Nando doesn't want to hurry at all. Keki there in 4th has got more ERS than him, so they can easily try and work together if they can. Nando there in 3rd, though, doing a good job. Alex the G, though, in the chat, mentioning good evening to my favourite PS commentator, and hi, James, also. What is it with people and disrespecting me tonight? It's
you should respect James, because he's one of the best commentators out there. Just saying.
It's Christmas in a week. It's Christmas in a week. Do you want to get something under your tree?
I think if they're not nice to you, they deserve coal. Just saying. Just saying, putting it out there. The only person that could be mean to James is me.
Exactly.
Because I'm his boss at PSGL. So yeah, but I'm nice to him anyway. So I'll never mean to him unless we're out on track and he beats me and he bullies me down on track. But anyway, moving on that bombshell. 4/10 of the gap now between Cameron Dowds and Stefano. We got DRS activated currently, so I think Stefano is going to go on the attack. No, he's not. He's hardly got any ERS. He's going to be on 0. It's depleting very rapidly. So is Cameron Dowds as well, heading towards turn number 7. And look at that straight line speed from Stefano. He's looking ever so quick, but he just can't get past right now. All it takes for Stefano to get past is maybe for Cameron Dowds to make a mistake. Stefano needs to save the ERS because we know that these mediums doesn't last long around here because of the temperatures and tire grip and the nature of this track is so technical. So Stefano's got to get a move on. Nando in 3rd place, but surely he would want the win. But Keke, I have to say, is my surprise at the moment. In a 4th position, is improving race after race, I think, in this league. He was in F2 last season as well, I believe, and he's definitely showing his mark in PSF1, beating some of the F1 legends that came before him, who are still on this grid. And he's chasing down Nando for a podium. His pace is incredible, but the drivers have got to keep an eye on fuel. That's another matter here.
Yeah, definitely so. Keki there in fourth has got to try and close in now, I think, on Stefano. Stefano has got away on the back of Cameron Dowd. Them two are going to fight pretty much until they're hard to contend. Stefano is beginning to save up a little bit of ERS. Maybe for that burn up down and towards Raffles Boulevard, he may hit the front. But my concern would be with Stefano, his tyres, because he's on the wrong strategy. Let's just face it. He's on that set of mediums early on. Set of whole compound tyres. Realistically, he's going to be pitted in around about lap 12, lap 13 to go on a set of whole compound tyres towards the end of the race. And again, he makes a mistake coming out of turn number 5. It's not one of his favourite corners coming on towards Raffles Boulevard. It was just a slight mistake. Puts him now back behind Cameron Dowd again, trying to hunt down Raffles Boulevard. Somebody that is looking close, so I think it's Rotterdam on the back of Kazizel running down the straight. It's going to be remaining at 0.3 of a second, though, for 12th and 13th position. Unlucky for Selma right now at this stage for Rotterdam's perspective. Nando's just beginning to try and edge that gap back in towards a second, and then he'll be right there or thereabouts. But at this moment in time, it's this whole big DRS game of chicken that they are playing right now in the streets of Singapore. With that threat of rain towards the end of the race as well. Not sure if it's been put in, of course, in the custom weather, but if it has, then it's going to be interesting to see how the drivers react to any change in the weather conditions towards the end of the race. But for now, Cameron Dowd's leading the way, Stefano second, Nando in third, then Keki in fourth, Marcos in fifth, Marlon sixth, Ryan, Aurelian, Benza and Tim top 10. Then there's a bit of a gap actually to Volakongan in 11th, 2.4 seconds off the back of Tim. Then Kazizel in behind him with Rotterdam, Erpek and Tom top 15. Corey, Francesco, Stefano, Wiener, who's been in the pits, and Jeroen, who's also been in the pits. The 20 drivers out on track, myself and Jess Ball taking you through the action here tonight. Cameron Dowd, though, hanging on out in front, but Stefano right there with him. Surprised, though, I thought the mediums would have been quicker.
Yeah, I thought the mediums would have been quicker as well, considering it's about a 6/10 difference between the tyres. But I think it's just probably maybe tyre pressures or even temperatures in general for the tyres. Or it might just be the hards are a bit more comfortable around this track. I found it around here in Singapore, the hards to be quite a nice tyre compared to other circuits. Most of the leagues I'm in do a 2-stop, and this is one of the tracks where I'm a bit more comfortable than the other tyres to go on the hards for a little bit longer. So not really that surprised to see drivers more comfortable there as well. So imagine what they're going to be like on the set of the medium tyres, but they will be on lower fuel, so they probably will be able to manage the mediums easier. As Ryderdale does get past Kazizel up in a 12th position, and he's now going to chase down Volakongan for maybe the last few points as well, which is going to be interesting. Top 10 in PSGL, remember. Score points in this league. First place gets 16 points, and 10th place gets 1 point. And bearing in mind, they got a 2-week break after this. No racing next week. So, of course, next Monday is Christmas Day, I believe. So, we wouldn't want to be commentating on Christmas Day. And then, of course, we've got New Year's Day the following week. And then we'll be back on the 8th of January. But we still got plenty of race action still to come around here. And we still got plenty of stories to be told around here, including this one. A three-way fight for third place, the final spot on the podium. It's the Nando train along with Keke and Marcos being the passengers of that train at the moment. But if Keke wants to be the train driver, he's got to make a move very, very fast. But he's losing ground to Nando, but Marcos is gaining on Keke. So we'll see what they can do. Oh my goodness, Marcos. That was a save and a half. Good car control. He has got that time penalty, as I was just about to say, but Keke does manage to get some ground in the end and took that advantage with both hands, and he's now up to third.
He is up to third, yeah. Keke up to third, Nando there in fourth. Ross Greenhorn asking in the chat, James, who do you think will win? Nando was struggling right now. I've hedged my bets quite literally in terms of putting him for the race win. He seems to be cracking under the pressure that I'm putting him in, quite literally. Nando there in fourth. Commentator's curse, quite literally, which was done a few hours before the stream even began, by the way, on X. But Nando there in fourth, he's definitely struggling a bit. I'm not sure if he's got like a lack of pace on those tyres or if he just isn't happy with the setup or whatever. He's really struggling. He's got Markedos there in behind in fifth. If it was to be the Markedos train, it would be pretty unreliable, like the German trains that, of course, are there. Alex G will definitely know about that. As Markedos is right on the back of Nando, he's going to have to get this job done, though, because Nando's out of ERS. Markedos to the inside on. The German now Thuni's into fourth. The Finn there in third. The Finnish trains run in all weathers. So Keke definitely weathering up to the storm that is about to come his way from in behind. With Markedos in fourth, Nando there in fifth. Doing a good job, though, the Scotsman out in front. Cameron Dowd is currently holding right now. Dirk there saying on the track, Keke for podium. Certainly looking good. And he now needs to work with Markedos to get on the back of Stefano and Cameron Dowd. If they don't, they're going to be at a big deficit towards the end of the race. The overcut, of course, more powerful than the undercut. Let's see and wait and find out how this race is going to progress. And rallying, however, is on the back of Ryan running down Raffles Boulevard. Is the Red Bull going to get the move done on the back of the Aston Martin? Yes, he is, to the inside line. Does a rally and go. And the two-time F1 Esports Challengers man is Boonies into seventh.
Yeah, that is a lot more like Aurelian at the moment, of course. One of the Challengers races in Silverstone, I believe, as well. But he hasn't won a race in PSF1. He said when we were speaking to him earlier that he wants to win one. Could he win here? I doubt it, but you never say never. We didn't think the Marlon strategy in season 33 was going to work by staying on, I believe it was the hard tyres for a bit longer, but he did make it work. So he has proved everyone wrong in the past, so maybe those two could do it again right now. This is the point now where, from previous experience, the mediums do start to take a turn from the worst in terms of managing it. From my experience, anything past 20%, you've got to manage it really, really effectively. If you're in a 0 to 20% range of tyre wear, that's where you gain the most advantage. So that's what we'll see when people come in. But right now, this is the phase where they just make sure they just keep it on the track and defend from what's around them, because you never know what could happen in PSF1 as well on lap 11 of 31, as Keke's dropped a little bit, by the way, to Stefano. So I wonder if Stefano has taken what we just said literally and saying, you know what, I'm not struggling on these mediums. I want to push on and get past Cameron Dowd for P1. I want to take a win here as well and prove the critics wrong. And that's exactly what he's going to try and do, but not quite yet.
Yeah, nice move as well for Markedos in the background. Beautiful, actually, down in towards the Memorial Corner at turn 7. Gets the job done. Through on Keke into third. It's a little bit strange, this race, because I'm literally egging on the likes of Keke, the likes of Nando to get on with things. And they've dropped now 2.5 seconds to Stefano and Cameron Dowd. I'm not sure if it's tactical or whatever, or if they just do not have the pace on the sort of hard compound of tyres. It might be the latter rather than the former. But it's a little bit strange because Cameron Dowd and Stefano just sitting pretty out in front. They're now beginning to use up they're beginning to save their ERS even. Markedos are beginning to use it up. And yet if Markedos uses up his ERS, he's not going to be anywhere near the front two, and he's still going to be out of ERS and DRS range. So it doesn't really make any sense what is going on right now. Cameron Dowd's leading, Stefano in second. I think it's just the case, Jess, where the front two are just absolutely on it, lap upon lap. And Markedos and Keke, Markedos now has said, sod this, get on with it. Keke and Nando in fifth position. Markedos has left them for dead, and Markedos now really needs to get onto the back. But he's only got 11% of ERS. Hardly going to be anything to use. He's hardly going to get an inroad into Cameron Dowd and Stefano. The front two are having an absolute blinder in terms of tactics. But remember, overcut is more powerful than undercut. That is the big thing to think about this, as Waddle makes a mistake there on the back of Nando coming out of turn number 5. Down Raffles Boulevard we come. But overcut more powerful than the undercut. And remember, Stefano's on that set of mediums. He's going to have to pit in sooner or
yeah, but you all have to pit sooner rather than later, really, to be honest, because otherwise he's going to struggle right now. But I think maybe in a few laps' time, I'm going to predict that they're going to come in to the pit lane for Stefano. But I think Stefano's got to get the move right now. But he's not going to do so yet because it's a very technical part of the circuit. As James cut off from me there again, but luckily he was just about to finish anyway, so that was all right. Perfect timing there as well. Keke is losing a bit of ground to Margalos, unfortunately, as well. I don't think anyone else has got relatively close to get the move, but look at this train from, I think, the likes of Keke all the way down to, I think, Tim in P10. This is the fight for 4th place, and if Keke doesn't get a move on, then he's going to be left for dust and probably being passed by a lot of cars that could be quicker than him and managing their tyres better and managing their ERS better as well. I haven't seen what they're like, but I've seen less people having ERS depleting compared to the ones near the front. So I think the ones near the back are saving a bit more. The ones near the front probably pushing to make sure they stare ahead. James, this is Stefano's second attempt to try and get past Cameron Dowds. I wonder if he can do it.
No, I'll literally say that now. No, he's got 24% of ERS. He's not using up. He's not in any hurry. He's just going to sit in behind Cameron Dowds just to keep on applying that pressure and hope for a mistake. If he does that, though, he might make a mistake himself, like he just nearly did at turn number 7 there. But Stefano is controlling this race well. I think Cameron Dowds is controlling it better, though. He's got slightly more ERS there out on track. So he's got about 5% more, I think, at the minute. Stefano there is on 20%, Cameron Dowds on 29%. So it's actually going up a little bit for Cameron Dowds. He's managing this race better than Stefano in behind. And at the minute, Stefano doing a good job, but Marcado's beginning to close in. This set of whole compound tyres now beginning to close in. That's why I think they probably saved a little bit for this part in the race. And again, Marlon in the background, making a slight mistake there. Rulling's on the back of him, running down the straight in towards turn 14. But Cameron Dowds leading, Stefano's second, Marcado's down third. Dirk saying in the chat, Rulling's got a box this lap or something. I potentially think so, but like in F2, first pit stop did not happen until lap 15, so that's where I'm making my bets on.
Yes, I think if James knows about strategy, he knows about strategy. 9 times out of 10, we get it right, but I think there was a few tracks this season where they pitted a few laps early than intended, and we were kind of a bit shocked about it. So, yeah, I think they probably had a bit of practice around Singapore. I think there's been many leagues for these drivers to have practiced Singapore anyway. So surely they would know which is the best one, and coming into this, they would have done their homework, done a bit of research into the data. So they may try and pit a few laps later as well. I can't remember when they did it in F2 as Nando tries to go for a move on Keke. That's more like it for Nando. James' pick for the win, which is backfiring for James at the moment, which makes me, I think, smiling for me to win. Not for Nando, because I would hope Nando would score higher, but because James is getting his prediction wrong. So, yeah, to be honest, I haven't made a prediction, so he can't roast me. But anyway, we're about to get into the pit stop phase as well. And I think Cameron Dowd is just controlling his ERS management very, very well indeed. I'm just trying to pick off some drivers that are doing well in the background. Marlon doing well in 6th. Ryan in 8th place. Benza dropping off into 9th place. That's not what I'm expecting him to be. At the moment, he's caught up in traffic, unfortunately. Volakongan struggling a little bit. Peck struggling a little bit. Tom not finding his feet a little bit, but maybe in the next couple of races he'll be able to shine there as well. And of course, we had Wiener and Stefano had some issues earlier on in the race. We've got Marlon side by side with Keke. That was very, very tight. Goes off the track. Hope he doesn't take anyone off in the process. That was very close. Nando stays ahead of Marlon in P4, but that could have been disaster and curtains if they were not careful.
Undercut about to happen, by the way. Volakongan is into the pit lane. Rodadol also into the pit lane. So 2 drivers further down the field, further out of sync compared to everyone else. They weren't in the DRS train either. They have decided to bite the bullet, come in the pit lane. And look what lap it is, lap 15. So absolutely spot on in terms of the strategy call. Pretty much from my experience around here. As Aurelian's on the back of Keke now, and Keke is looking like an absolute sitting duck. Could belong in an ice bath right now, the way he's dropping down the field. But Aurelian there in 7th, doing a good job. The Frenchman on the back of him. Marlon, though, went so late on the brakes. I don't know how he got that car stopped just before the corner. He had to obviously cut the corner. But Marlon there in 5th. What I was about to say just before he went for the move is that he's got more ERS, much more ERS than the rest of the field around him. He's got 44%. Nando's on 17. Marlon is definitely the man to watch out for right now in this race in terms of the ERS usage and in terms of saving that up, because he is driving a very good race. I talked to him last week about his plans and about obviously how he's expecting to do in PSGL moving forward. It hasn't been the greatest season for Marlon. He admitted that himself, but he's just beginning to hit that form. Now, this is the form that he's beginning to hit. He's on the back of Nando. Not going to pressurize him this time around, but I would imagine Nando, Marlon, if they're smart, I think they're belonging in the pit lane this lap.
Yeah, because of that traffic, they got to, because then they'll have some clear air. And speaking of that, James has got it right yet again. Marcados is in the pit lane. So, Marlon's in as well, but not as many coming to the pit lane as I thought. I thought they would have done the same and reacted to that. Maybe they're faking potentially of that overcut strategy. So, Marcados is going on to a set of mediums, but don't forget, only Stefano was the only driver that pitted on to, well, he started on the mediums, everyone else on the hards. So, Stefano, I think it's going to go on to a set of hards at the end. I'm a bit bewildered as to why Stefano hasn't come in yet, because he's going to be on the hards where everyone else is going to be on the mediums. But we have seen at the start how the hards just held off so well compared to the mediums. Maybe he's just using Cameron Dowd as just learning the track a bit more and seeing how the hards are going to perform towards the end of this race potentially. So this could be a very smart move for Stefano, that he might find the hards a little bit more confident, or maybe he's gambling for a safety car to go onto the soft tyres, but I doubt the soft's going to last that long as well. So I think whatever Cameron Dowd does, I think Stefano's going to follow suit.
I think Stefano will be in this lap. I personally think Cameron Dowd should actually go a couple of more laps. I think he could go about to lap 17, maybe even to the end of lap 18, because he is so good on those tyres. He's so good on his ERS. The Scotsman is absolutely running rings around the field right now. Stefano there in second, I think, has got to come in. He's now losing the gap, but Cameron Dowd's actually is the first to come in. So Cameron Dowd's, interestingly, I thought he would have got at least another lap just to try and egg out those tyres a little bit longer and then to get on fresher mediums, and then Stefano would pit in. Nando, though, he's doing exactly the same strat as what he did in the other league, and he is going lap 17, possibly to the end of the pit stops, and then going on that set of mediums. And that set of mediums, by the way, that is where he belonged in that race as well around here in Singapore. If you didn't watch a certain team event, and you're not living, as Francesco's on the back of Corey, Tom on the back of Peck, of course, PSGL E-Series, just a full caveat into that, is on Wednesday. Jeddah, the season finale there, Ferrari Esports wrapping up the championship. Lotte Academy, though, that battle for second going to be very interesting indeed, as Tom setting his sights on Erpek, the championship leader. Still yet to come in the pits along with Tom, Corey, Francesco. They could risk it for a set of soft compound tyres. However, Marlon and Stefano make contact. Stefano, that's a reset to track as well for Stefano. That is going to be him instantly in the
I didn't catch that.
I saw that just for Marlon's end. Stefano's now going to go through on the back of Benza, gets the job done. But Stefano, that was a reset to track. That will be on his POV as well. That will be asked for by the stewards. And if he tries to say that wasn't a reset to track, then I must be blind.
Hopefully the game hasn't automatically reset him to track, because
no, it was so quick.
It was so quick. Oh, okay, because I think the game gives like 5 seconds. Fair enough. So I think he'll probably get a penalty for that, and there were cars around him as well. That could have been, I think, disaster as well. And that is the danger of being caught up with this traffic. And look at the gap. Look at the gap between Stefano and Cameron Dowd. It's massive. Nando comes into the pit lane. And let's jump back to this battle, actually, because it get very entertaining between the likes of Stefano and Benza, side by side with Keke and Ryderdale. Where's Ryderdale coming all of this? He's come out of nowhere, and it's proven that undercut strategy perfectly. As I said, my words wrong, but who cares? Erpek, by the way, gets a 3-second time penalty. We're already on lap 18 out of 31. Where's the time flying by? Well, if you're having fun, that is probably what is doing it right now. As they head towards turn number 1, we're seeing, I think, Nando coming out of the pit lane. I thought that the overcut was going to work. It seems like it's the undercut.
Obviously not. Obviously, we don't know our stuff quite clearly. Exactly.
I think because I think in the other league the overcut worked, but in this league the undercut worked. Interesting.
Undercut worked. There has been a patch update, though, since that, so that potentially maybe fixed the overcut factor of things. Undercut definitely more powerful, it seems, around here. Nando, by the way, is now behind Aurelian, which is not the best sort of news that I'd be hoping for. He's well back in the field. He crouched the wall there as well, coming out of Penang corner down in towards turn number 9 at the Singapore Sling. That has given, though, Cameron Dowd's a really good chance, but look where Stefano's came out in all of this, Jess. Look at where Stefano is. He's there, behind Kongan. How's he ended up there? Obviously, he had that reset
Kongan?
and that instant...
He was like 10th, and he's now in P4.
Stefano had that contact with Marlon, which I can totally understand. That's why he's lost the time.
Yeah.
But he's lost so much time, even with that reset to track. He's now under pressure from Benza, running in towards the right-hander now of what? Turn 16, 17 this is. Tim, by the way, into the pit lane. Kazizil, Tom, Urpek, Corey, all going to go on a set of soft compound tires. You mark my words right now. They have got to go set of soft compound tires. They last around 8 or 9 laps. They go to lap 22, 23. They can make it to the end as Benza attacks there. Stefano and towards turn 1. Not going to get the job done. Marquez, though, is side by side with Francesco, who's in a real meat in the sandwich. Cameron Dowd is through as well. On the back of Corey, as Marquez going to try and chase after the back of Corey to try and get a move done into a Memorial corner. Not quite. The Aston Martin, though, is stuck in traffic, and he gets a tap from the rear end there of Francesco, who was so late on the brakes. OP and F70 once again getting involved in a bit of contact. Cameron Dowd, though, round the outside of Urpek, absolutely minces him. And now in towards the Singapore thing, sets his sights on Tom. Is the Shazoo man going to let him through? No, you bet he's not.
I think he's going to try his best to do all he can to get a pass, but don't forget Tom has still got to pit, so is Kazidal. So I don't think Cameron Dowd is going to try and pressure that much. He's going to go for a move on the inside. We got, I think he's going to get it. Yes, he is going to get it as Cameron Dowd up into P2. And he's going to set his sights for Kazidal, but I think Kazidal will come in soon as well, so I think he doesn't have to matter that much. But Cameron Dowd, I have to say, is doing an excellent job. He's pulled off his strategy absolutely right. Everyone else is going to try and get past Tom, which is easier said than done. Margaros gets past, a great move from him. Margaros is in P2, but he's got that penalty. He's got to make sure that he can get rid of that deficit and clear away from the rest of the field, which, again, it's easier said than done. We've got Tom, Peck and Corey all in the line. And then the next medium runner after that is Marlon. Then we got Francesco, who hasn't pitted. Then we got the likes of Waller Congan and Benza. This field, James, is all over the place.
Oh, and Marlon nearly has contact with Corey, getting the move done around the outside of turn number 4. Nice move in the end, but that was a bit helter-skelter from the German, as now he sets his sight on his teammate, Urpek, running down the straight in towards turn 7 of Raffles Boulevard. Urpek is draining the CRS, wants to keep this move. Marlon, though, on the fresher tyres, easy as you like to the inside of Memorial Corner, doing his into 5th. And now he's got a Shazoo Tom ahead of him, which is going to be very interesting indeed, because these two have made contact in the past around here. Yes. Now coming to the left-hander of Penang Corner, running down towards turn number 10. I think, though, Marlon could dispose him in towards the Singapore sling. No, extra remaining behind, and probably the best thing to do as well. We'll be forced to lose time now. Coming across the Anson Bridge, maybe down the inside into the hairpin. Marlon, though, is going to get so much traction coming out of the hairpin. Cameron Dowd's now passing Kazizzle for the race for the race lead, even not for the race win just yet. Marlon, though, is there now into 4th. He's having one of his better races of the season. It's very good to see.
It's Singapore,
and that's all because it is Singapore, and he finished 2nd, of course, the last time he came even season 33. So he's definitely loving this track. He's also loving the fact that I gave him some kind words after last week as well. So that's why he's getting egged on.
Yeah, he's done very well in the past couple of races, and I was watching a few of his races in a 24-hour event that we did in the weekend, and he's did well there too, so maybe he's picked up his form since then too. I think he's just become better on this game, which is really great to see. This is on merit. He doesn't have to do a crazy strategy this time. He's there on merit, and he's doing a very great job. Meanwhile, Markelos has got past Kazizzle up into 2nd. Volakonga's going to try and do the same on the Corey up to 7th as well. I'm going to predict there's going to be no safety cars, but knowing me, there's probably going to be one. So let's hope there's none, because so far the racing has been okay, as Benza gets past Francesco as well. Benza, I don't know where he is, because there's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 drivers he's still yet to stop. Stefano is still on the hard tyres, and he's under pressure from the likes of Keke and Ryder down behind. And it's got to a point now where, unlike the start of the race where the hards were better, the mediums were better on low fuel, as I was predicting. So that's one prediction right to me. Thank you very much. But it's time for your predictions in the chat. Who do you think is going to win this race? It's going to be very tight on entry into that corner for Keke, at least, to try and get past Stefano. Look at the space. There's not much room at all. Wolakonga gets past Urpek. But what about, it's going to be a late load. Oh my goodness.
How has he controlled that? That is an absolute unreal save from Keki. That is absolute magic. If you've ever seen it, he may as well be Dynamo in a disappearing act right now, because that was absolutely insane car control from Keki. How on earth? He must have... That's just a Scandinavian flick that he's just performed.
He's in the pits.
Is Corey there is into the pits? Yeah, Corey is into the pits.
I thought he went off.
He didn't know. He's in the pits. He's in the pits. Do not worry about that. Keki, though, performing what can only be described, I think, as a Scandinavian flick. It's one of the first times I've ever seen a Scandinavian flick used in a league race, and I'm all for it. I want to see him more. It's lost in positions, albeit, but he's there in 16th. And now, on the back of and the likes of Nanda, the likes of Aurelian, the likes of Rodadal, it's now 3 wide down the straight. Aurelian goes for the move on both Stefano and Francesco to the inside line, gets the job done. Brilliant stuff from Aurelian, parting of the Red Sea from the Frenchman. He is Flooney's into 9th, Stefano there in 10th, Nando there in 11th. Do not discount him out of a potential top 5 finish. Might not be the race win that he so deserves. But Nando's now beginning to fly through the field. He's on the back of Stefano. Tim and Francesco now going side by side. This race has kicked off into literally 1,000 gears.
Well, in PSF2, we saw people going 3 wide and it didn't work. In PSF1, we saw people going 3 wide and it is a lot better, which I think shows, the better standards. Look at this. Nando's making his way through. Aurelian's making his way through as well. It's almost a pile-up. I don't know how Benza got his car saved that. Absolutely crazy for the OP man. Stefano getting past all of them as well. And Aurelian right in front of these guys on this medium tyre. Stefano is back. Nando gets past Tom as well. If I was Tom and Erpet, I would come into the pits right now, as that's what Kazizel is doing. Wolakonga makes his way up into 4th spot. This has turned up to 11 as Tom gets a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. And he's retired from the session. Oh, that is a shame. But all this fighting, look at the gap up front. 2.2 seconds Cameron Dowd is leading for. Could he be on for his 2nd win of the season?
It looks that way. He's looking very dominant, I've got to say, out on track. Benza and Nando are side by side in towards turn 7. That is a lovely move from Nando. Tells Benza like I don't know what, but the Ferrari man is 2, and he's into 7th. Benza has a snap of oversteer there, but the fresher tyres definitely coming into play. That's why you want to be on the fresh set of mediums towards the end of the race there as well. Nando's only on a lap fresher tyres compared to Stefano and Aurelian, but it's making so much difference in this race. They're about 6% fresher this right compared to what the guys are ahead of him. Nando cleanly clips the wall there coming across the Anderson Bridge, but it has now all calmed down, luckily for us. Cameron Dowd's leading the way, Marcado's in 2nd, Marlon there in 3rd. It looks like the front 3 pretty much sorting themselves out from a relatively early stage in this race. The fun and games, though, about to begin. Because here comes Nando again on the back of Stefano. I did say he could be on for the race win. It's still possible. If we get a late safety car, it's still possible. If we get a safety car, it is definitely possible. But he doesn't want one now, because obviously he'll come out right behind his teammate and obviously stick behind his teammate in a double stack. So we lose so many positions, he'll be back to square one where he was. But Nando there in 7th, doing a good job. Looking at its stage, though, it looks as if it's going to be dry towards the end of the race. As I mentioned there in the chat, there was one rain cloud. It was literally the last slot on the slot of 7 that you get. The last slot. So if we get any rain, which is 60 minutes, which is not this race distance, by the way, at the minute, that would be rain at the end of the race. But I think the weather has been set to clear, and I think Tom's going to get, he's going to get the move done on Benza in towards turn 7.
That's why I think a lot of people were thinking, oh, could there be rain now? And then when they think it wasn't going to be rain, they just came into the pits. So I think it's going to be clear for the entirety of the race, which is always good for us as well. I wonder what it was like for the rest of the PS tiers throughout the week, and also the PC tiers that raced as well. Of course, the PC side are now on their break week, so they're not racing anymore until after Christmas, where we will be racing at, as there's a lot of action going on, so it's hard to keep up, Spain, where we opened last season. So we're going to be opening the second half of the season with the Spanish Grand Prix, which I'm very excited. There's a lovely track on this year's game and a lot of battles. Or it might be in the pre-season race. It might be the pre-season race, actually, but I'll need to double check on that one. So and I know Aurelian has done well in Spain in the past, so I think Aurelian could pick up maybe a victory there potentially, but we're getting ahead of ourselves at the moment. We're on lap 25 of 31, and Nando's trying to chase down his teammate for tonight, Stefano. He's on a mission. He can still win this race, but he's got to make sure he doesn't make any more mistakes, and he's got a rating right in front of him for company. I'm watching Nando's ERS levels, and he hasn't got a lot to use at all. Same with Stefano. Stefano got a bit very squirmy on corner exit. Already as ERS, he's got more, so he can try and defend against the two prancing, halting Ferraris. As Ryan gets past Benza up into 9th spot, so he's doing a great job up there in the Aston Martin. Stefano trying to get past Nando to the inside as well. Nando cuts back onto the left-hand side, past the old Singapore sling. It's going to be very tight on entry through one of my favourite corners on the circuit. They just touch wheels a little bit. Be careful to not go off the track, lads. That was beautiful. I agree with that, James. Nando stays in, well, goes into 6th position, and it's now a medium 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for the rest of this race. I think Stefano's strategy looked good at the start. We thought he was going to win this one, but I think unless there's a safety car, Stefano is going to struggle to potentially get in the points, because the ones on the beams are definitely chasing him down.
Yeah, definitely so. Tim's now on the back of him, running down the straight in towards turn 16 and 17. But Nando there, I've got to say, very good racing between Nando and Stefano there. It was simply breathtaking to watch. I mean, Nando might not be on for the race win, but when you get racing like that, it makes up for the race that you're having. And Nando has just proven that point. There in 6th, Stefano there in 7th. Albeit, I think the Ferrari team principal, Frederic Vasseur, was probably watching with his head in his hands right now, but Nando there in 6th, managed to get through, no contact involved. That is how you race around in Singapore for absolute sure, as Tim now is setting his sights on the back of Stefano, the F70 man against the OP man. And the OP man, I think, is going to make light work here. Pulls the inside line. This should be easy for Tim to the inside line, and he gets the job done. Of course, Tim, the only reserve in the field tonight, apart from Stefano, of course, filling in from a Barak. Tim, of course, representing Alfa Romeo.
Stefano's full-time, isn't he?
Stefano is full-time, I think. Mubarak taking a break until 2024. I think Stefano might be full-time now. Tim, though, in 7th position, doing a fantastic job. Of course, he's reserving in for Louis Valentin. He's going to be returning, I believe, after the winter break as well. But Tim certainly producing a very good performance out on track, gaining 4 positions. Most positions gained, though, in this race. That man sitting pretty in 4th position with all the care in the world, and his former teammate in behind him, Vola Kongan, is there in 4th. 8 positions gained, up from 12th on the grid, up to 4th, but still 5 laps to go.
I'm just trying to see how he's done last season in season 33, because I think he might have done well there too, or he might have or he might be the one that bottled the strategy. He's definitely not bottling the strategy here, because I think what he was doing was he was trying to avoid the carnage that was going along around him, and he was like, "Thank you very much. I'll take that piece of the pie, and I'll get past you lot." And he's still have a chance of maybe getting a podium position. But I think he'll still be happy with 4th spot. I would be in this situation after the troubles he's had at the start of the race. Only had 1 retirement, of course, but everyone else is still making it through until the end of the race. Cameron Dow's pulling off another second over Marcados. I have to say, with Marcados, he's flying under the radar, but he's performed really, really well, made some great moves. Again, he's avoided the battles that was happening, and he was able to pull away from the rest of them. And this will be his best result this season. Last season was really, really good for him. He just missed out on the title. This season has been a bit meh for him, and this is the Marcados that we know and love. This is the Marcados where he struggled when he was starting in PSF1 in season 31. Then he picked up his form from the end of season 31 onwards, and he never looked back. But yeah, this is the Marcados that we know and love, who was fighting for podiums and for wins. Unfortunately, he's not going to get the win today, but definitely his best result of the season, and I think he should be very proud of that.
Yeah, definitely
so
not his... Yeah, so far, definitely. Not the shadow of his former self. I've got to say, this is the real Marcados we're seeing. The real Marlon that we're seeing, I think, as well. I know they're 5.7 seconds behind each other. Marcados is 4.3 behind Cameron Dowd. But they're putting on solid drives, and all of that has been because of the man in front. Cameron Dowd is the man to thank, because he's absolutely dragged out the field from a very early stage in this race. It has looked absolutely dominating. Can we send him back over to PCF1 by any chance into the winter break? Because he's looking absolutely phenomenal now. He is really doing a fantastic job out in front. And the way that he's controlled this race, I thought this race would have been DRS train chicken, playing the Joker cards very
Safety
late
car.
on. Cameron Dowd, yeah, unless it's a safety car, which looks very
Yeah, it's not
unlikely
going to happen now.
in this
It's
race.
not. It's too late.
Yeah, it's going to be
Phew.
very, very unlikely that it does happen. But, oh, Nando nearly crashes the curb. There's a right on ball with him there, coming through the right-hand turn, the left-hand turn number 7. But Cameron Dowd has actually taken this race on a complete polar opposite to how I thought it would go, and he's dragged the field out. This is Cameron Dowd in... We're living in Cameron Dowd's world, and we're all for it, I think, right now. He's doing a fantastic job out in front. Marcados in second, can't keep up. Marlon in third, can't keep up. Volakongan in fourth, can't keep up. It's Cameron Dowd's world, and we're all living in it.
Yeah, I think I remember you commentating on him when he was in F3 as well. I commentating on him during the F2 days as well, and he's a very great driver as well. I'm sure his dad will be very nervous once again. I think Dad, if your parent always watches you league race, I think my mum takes me esports about me very, very seriously. They get nervous when I do league races sometimes because they don't want me to crash and they don't want me to cry about it every night if I lose or anything like that. So yeah, it's great to see people investing on league racing so much, helping the kids out as well with the likes of Cameron Dowd, which I think is why he's improving race after race after race. Maybe he's not on the PC right now, but he's on PS and he's doing a great job as well. So on lap 29 of 31, and we still got some battles still to decide. In the background, we got Nando versus Aurelian versus Volakongan for P4. Volakongan is trying to hold these guys up for the last 3 laps of this race. We also got Tim. We also got Keke and Benta fighting in the background as well. Great move from Keke. Up into 10th place at the moment. He's going to be scoring the final point, but we still got Benza and Stefano that's going to be like, nope, you're not going to have that P10 on track. That P10 will be mine. And Benza has been struggling out there today, and he just now wants to have a bit of fun. He'll be absolutely gutted that he won't get any points if he doesn't keep that up, but he'll probably use his tactics now to see if he can try and get points on the final lap. Aurelian is probably going to do the same tactics to try and get past Volakongan. So those are potentially the 3 battles that we're going to see right now. We also got Urpek on the back of Ryderdale. He's going to go for a late send. Apologies that the camera angle was absolutely rubbish, but that was a beautiful move past Ryderdale. Corey's got past him too, so Ryderdale's old and medium tires, he pitted very early for a set of the mediums compared to the ones near the back, and he is struggling compared to everybody else. So yeah, he's dropped a little bit back and down into 16th place. What a shame for Ryderdale, but still plenty of stories to be told with 2 laps to go of this race.
Yeah, definitely. So you buy a Williams and an Alpine and you get a Haas free, I think, in terms of that battle for Urpek and Corey. 14th and 15th. Ryderdale there down in 16th. Nando looking very interesting on the back of Aurelian. He's been there or thereabouts. Aurelian, though, closing in on Volakongan as well. Both former teammates, of course, in Team Chazoo. I think a little under, 6, 7, 8 months ago, I think now. Aurelian on the back of Volakongan doing a good job on the back, which is crazy, and it just comes to show Silly Season is well and truly in form right now in F1 Esports, and indeed, of course, in sim racing. Mr. George Morgan, Mr. League Racing account himself is in the chat. Hope you're doing very well. Cameron is definitely smashing it indeed. 6.3 seconds, and again, as I alluded to a little bit earlier, there is a yellow flag. That is Urpek. I think that has crashed with Corey, if I'm not mistaken. Corey's waiting up for him. Clearly, Corey's had a tap on the rear end there. On the back good respect. Good respect. Good respect. Good sportsmanship. That's what we like to see. That's what we pride ourselves on in sim racing. But yeah, totally coming back to George's point. Cameron Dowd's leading the way. On to the final lap of the race as well. We are living in his world right now. It's going to be 2 out of 2. And Jess, all the 2s for Cameron Dowd because he's going to be the first 2-time winner of the season if he doesn't crash on the final lap.
That is a good point, because we've had pretty much 6 winners from 6 different races, and Cameron Dowd could change that at the moment as long as he doesn't make a mistake. He's racing against himself right now, and I've had from experience only once that lead dominating a race is just as hard as battling with them, because you just got to fight the car. Your heart racing a million miles an hour is absolutely crazy. Even if you've won races before, you want to win more, pretty much race after race after race, pretty much, as he makes his way, passing towards turn 10 and 11. He could possibly do qualifying laps at this point, or he could just play it safe because he's got a 6.6 second gap. But let's ignore Cameron Dowles for the time being. Look at this fight. We got Eliza Volakongan and Aurelian in the background. We got Nando as well. Tim, Ryan, they're all fighting for 4th place on the road. We got people fighting for the final point. Stefano, I think, is a little bit further back to do so, and plus he's got that 3-second time hand on at least. I think Keke is going to get the final point. Someone did say in the chat Keke for a podium, but unfortunately that is not going to happen. Aurelian is going to have another chance on Volakonga. Nando could have a final chance on Aurelian, but doesn't quite do so, as we missed Cameron Dowles coming across the line to take the win of the race. So massive congratulations to Cameron Dowles. Markados as well, another great performance from him. His best result of the season. The old Markados is back. Marlon, another podium here in Singapore, just like he did 2 seasons ago, in 3rd. Up to the line goes the chasing pack. Volakongan is 4th, Aurelian in 5th. We've got Tim, Ryan, Stefano, Keke and Nando. James's pick, as due to his 3-second time penalty, he's only got 1 point out of this. That is a shame for him, but he can redeem himself maybe in a couple of weeks' time as we head to Spain on the 8th of January, a day after my birthday, believe it or not.
Thank God, by the way, that we have got a Christmas break coming up, because I definitely need to get Mystic Meg vibes, I think, after my prediction here tonight. Cameron Dowdes, though, out on top. At the end, we should not draw a line over his performance, because it was absolutely incredible. He did an utterly brilliant job out on track. He's the first 2-time winner of the season. He is now a championship contender. Let's just face it. He is a championship contender here from being disqualified on his first ever race in PSF3 back in the day. And I was thinking, oh, this guy is pretty good. And he got disqualified because I think, if I'm not mistaken, there was something wrong with his car, something wrong with the setup. He joined in qualifying and he got disqualified because of that. But Cameron Dowdes now has put that completely back in his mind. And now this is the real Cameron Dowdes. He's faced against the likes of Jarno Opmeer. He's faced up against the likes of Nicholas Longe. He's faced up against the likes of Thomas Ronhaar, potentially in the future. It's going to be a big, big curve. And just think, this kid is 14. 14 is Cameron Dowdes. And this is what he does in PSGL, PSF1. Highly, highly impressive. Possibly the future definitely coming here in PSGL, PSF1.
When I was 14, James, I was probably, not doing anything like this. I was pretty much just minding my own business, watching YouTube videos on a Monday night, not racing for a race win around Singapore. He becomes the first 2-time winner of the season. Let me just check how many points he would be on going into the next race. So before tonight, he sits on 19 points. He's going to get 16 points. So that will be, I'm just trying to 29, 30-something points. 35. And of course, he jumps Matt in the championship because Izzle is not scoring any points. I think he's going to be 3rd in the championship. He's going to be in the top 3, I think, if I've done my maths correctly. But I might be wrong with the likes of Nando scoring points today. But we'll do. I'm sure James will do maths in just a second. Cameron Dowdes wins for Markados. Great performance from him. Marlon Volakonga, Aurelian, Tim, Ryan, Stefano, Keke, Nando, Benza, Kazidal, Stefano Ryderdale, Corey Francesco, Pet Wiener, and Jeroen are your finishers. And your only retirement is, unfortunately, Tom, who retired, I think, quite later on in the race, unfortunately, in the pit lane, I think, after his first stop, which is a shame, unfortunately. But what a race, and what an early Christmas present for ourselves.
Definitely an early Christmas present. You are just slightly off, actually, in terms of the points. I think Markados is going to be 3rd in the championship with him finishing 2nd. He's going to be on 36 points.
Good point. Yeah.
Cameron Dowdes is on 35 points. So he will be passing Max. He'll be 4th, I think, in the championship, behind Markados by 1 point going into the winter break, which is not too bad at all. And I mean, when you've got stats of 8th position and then a DNS and then a 13th and then 2 wins in a row, it looks pretty smug, I've got to say, from Cameron Dowdes. I don't know what his father is thinking right now, but Cameron Dowdes is already an eager beaver, by the way. He's already in the waiting room. He's been there for about, what, 2 or 3 minutes?
Hang on. Give me a chance, Cameron Dowd. I haven't even got the scene ready yet. There we go. Now you can drag him in.
Now we could drag him in. Let us speak to the man who has picked up his second win of PSGL PSF1, and what a way to do it as well. Mr. Cameron Dowds, first of all, can you hear us?
Yep.
Woo.
Fantastic stuff. Glad you are here. Second race win of the season, second race win in a row as well. Complete domination, I think is fair to say, as how that went. Didn't have a rival anywhere near you in that race. Talk us through it, because it was pretty simple.
Yeah, the qualifying was, it felt pretty decent. I feel there was maybe like 2 or 3 tenths, but I guess it's really hard to find the limit in the rain, especially when you've not done any practice in it. It's quite hard to find the complete limit, so I was still happy with the lap. And then in the race, yeah, I thought I kind of mucked it up, because in the first 2 or 3 laps, I knew I was quick, but I made like a few mistakes that like stopped me from getting out of DRS quicker. And at the time I thought I might not have been able to get out of DRS, but I just pushed as hard as I could, and I managed to get out of DRS. And then from then on, it was pretty simple. I was surprised how long Stefano was on the pace for. And then he pitted at the same time as me, so like he didn't undercut me with that, which was good. So that from then on, I was just, again, when I came at the pits, Marcadors was right behind me, and I didn't think I'd be able to get a DRS. I was quite surprised when I did. And then after I got out of DRS, it was just about just trying to bump up that gap bit by bit, and then just controlling the race from there.
Yeah, there's bumping up a gap, and then there's gaining about 5 or 6 tenths every single lap, I think, which is what you ended up doing. George Morgan, by the way, in the chat has said he is one of the sharpest talents coming through. Both he and Otis Lawrence, future is safe. When you get compliments like that off a really good, well-respected voice in the commentary world, what is going through your head?
Yeah, it's quite nice. It means a lot. Yeah, it's a good compliment to hear.
I think he's a man of very few words with that,
Featureless.
certainly, but it is true. It is true. He is one of the sharpest talents, definitely coming out, even from the PSF1 scene. I would even say possibly on the level of Wilson Hughes when he was doing his PSF1 racing alongside the likes of Jarno Opmeer. I think we have got another Wilson Hughes amongst us, quite literally. Obviously, it's going to be so good. And you're only 14, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Only 14, and you are producing performances like that. As George says, and I couldn't put any better myself, future is definitely safe with you. Hopefully staying in PSF1, and hopefully you don't get bunked back to PCF1 after the winter break.
Yeah. I'll be staying on PlayStation.
He's staying on PlayStation, you see. You see, that's the GOAT platform. By the way, Ron has predicted you. Ron predicted you to win this race, by the way, and he feels pretty smug that he predicted you as the race winner. So good job, Ron. And yeah, I'm going to ask a question since I've got the mic now as well. The Christmas break is coming up as well. A couple of weeks to reset. You're definitely on good form, nearly at the top end of the championship now. Spain next week. How are you feeling about this track? Obviously, with the removal of that chicane, do you prefer
it? Yeah, I like it. I thought it was a 3-week break after this, no?
It says we start on the 8th of January.
Oh, okay, so it's not that. Sorry, you said next week. I was confused.
It's force of habit. Sorry, Cameron.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I like Spain. I won't have any races now for 3 weeks then, so I might be a bit rusty, but I'll just do time trial every now and then to try and stay warmed up. But yeah, I like Spain a lot more with the new layout. I absolutely hate the chicane. I like the final sector a lot more, and it's a good track.
Good, a man of good taste, I have to say. James, do you have any final questions before we say our final thoughts?
No, nothing from me. Congratulations, we're on that race win, Cameron. The future is definitely bright with you in our midst. Go and enjoy your evening.
Yep, cheers. Right, see you.
Thank you, Mr. Cameron Dowles. Have we got any more interviews, James?
Jess, We've got Marlon sitting, waiting patiently, quite literally, in the waiting room. So I am going to drag him across right about now. And because he's on PlayStation, he's immediately being kicked out.
So does that mean we have to pop into the waiting room then?
It might do.
Hold on, hang on. I've got it on my other screen and my mouse is struggling to keep up at times. So yeah, let's both go to the rating room. There we go. Hopefully Marlon should be able to hear us as he transfers over to the PlayStation. Marlon, can you hear us now?
Hello?
We'll try again. Marlon, can you hear us now?
Yeah, now I can hear you.
Over to you, James.
You can hear us. Fantastic stuff. Marlon, P3 out on track. I was speaking to you last week after some very interesting results, let's just face it. You are now back in the big time, on a podium in PSGL, PSF1. How's the feeling after tonight?
Yeah, I'm feeling great. I mean, having all these bad races in the past and now getting the P3, I'm really happy with it. But I didn't quite expect it because I had no quali pace at all, and the rain really saved me, as I'm pretty good in the rain this game. And yeah, it saved me, and the pace in the race was good. I couldn't match Marcos and Cameron, they were in the other league today. But yeah, getting the P3, I'm really, really happy with it.
Yeah, you should be really happy with it. Obviously, you've had P2, I think, last season, or 2 seasons ago even, in season 33 around here. So you had some really good pace coming into tonight. Obviously, you were out of form coming into tonight as well, and I know fine well because you were mentioning that to me in DMs as well. But it's so good to see you actually on the podium once again. And that race you mentioned there, Cameron and Marcos were just in a different league. What was your feeling about getting that P3? Did you think you were going to get it?
After the pit stops, yeah. I mean, I saw it in the stream, you saw it with Stefano. I mean, I feel like it's a bit my fault because I didn't left him much space, but I don't know why he stick his nose down the inside if he has the cold hard tires and has no grip at all. I mean, if I get the penalty for that, it would be deserved, but I don't think much. I have the 5-second gap to P4, which was important for me. That was my main goal, to get these 5 seconds. And but yeah, I saw he reset it as well to the track, so we will see. I apologized to him in the DM already. Yeah, there's not much I can do now, but yeah, in the end, P3 I think is deserved. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, accidents can and will happen, I think, in sim racing. It's just an absolute given. No race is ever going to be 100% perfect. Obviously, if anything come out from the stewards, we will inform you, of course, going after the winter break, going into Spain. Jess, speaking of Spain, any questions?
Yeah, speaking of Spain, how are you feeling about that track? And also, because of your great result in Singapore, you seem to like Singapore. You had the crazy strategy in season 33. You got on the podium in season 35. You must love it too much. A, what do you think of Spain? And B, what are your title hopes going into the rest of the season now? You must be feeling very confident, right?
Yeah, I mean, every race is difficult in this in PSGL run as the pace is really, really tight. Spain is normally a good track for me. My debut in the last game was pretty good there, even though I had a spin in the race. I still finished in a good position. I could have gone for a podium there. But yeah, I like the track. Let's see how it goes. But to go with a P3 into the winter break is really, really good. And that helps me with my confidence really much. As well in this league, as I'm, yeah, pretty unfortunate in a couple of races. As I was. Not the best.
I think I have to say, just like I've talked about with Marcos and yourself, I think the old Marlon is definitely back. I saw your great form in the 24-hour event in the weekend, so I'm very happy that you picked up the same form in Singapore tonight. We'll let you go and enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you, and thank you to different comms, as always. Really appreciate it, and I will watch the stream now.
Oh, awesome. Thank you very much. So that wraps up mostly everything in the stream so far. I think, shall we move back to our usual commentary box now? Because otherwise it's going to mess up the camera. So we will, I will drag James there. Right. Oh, I dragged myself in. I dragged myself in instead of you, James. There we go. But we dragged ourselves in. That is brilliant to see. If James could get your camera on, that'd be great. But we have one more announcement to make before we wrap up the stream. It's just been announced on Twitter 7 minutes ago. So not we didn't get the exclusive scoop, but it wasn't that. If you didn't check Twitter, then you get the exclusive scoop here on stream. You know how obviously the drivers racing week in and week out. We commentate on some great racing. We admire their tenacity, their commitment to racing, and the battles is just amazing. Well, of course, we got the likes of the GT racing on Tuesday and the E-Series on Wednesday. But on Thursday, we're going to be doing something that pretty much a lot of commentators have been requesting for years. People were saying to Connor, when can we do this? Connor, can we do this? But finally, he gave in, and what we're going to do on Thursday is the roles are getting reversed. We're not going to be in the commentary box. We're going to be out here on track for the Commentators' Cup this Thursday at 7 p.m. UK time. So you get to see myself, James, JGM as well, our other head of comms as well, racing, Nathan Richards. We've got Dan Bill racing in here as well. I'm really excited for this one, but that does mean I have to get my butts into gear and beat you guys as well, because it'll be embarrassing if I lose to the rest of the PSGL crew. It's mainly season 34 and season 35 commentators, plus with one special guest that has been commentating on PSGL for quite a while, but we haven't seen him in the PSGL scene for quite a bit. He's going to make a guest appearance as well, but line up to be announced in a couple of days. But what do you think of this, James? It's time to get our competitive things into gear, isn't it?
Nerve-wracking. Nerve-wracking, I think, is going to be the phrase I'm going to use. I'm going to put all of my horns from the other league that I do on a Saturday and my 4 wins from there and finishing second in the championship into this event. So if you think I'm not going to take it with any seriousness, you are wrong. So, Mr. Evan Dalton, Mr. Byron Hale, Mr. Nathan Richards, we're coming for you.
Yeah, indeed. And I think we all choose our cars as well. And the worrying thing as well, we don't know what the tracks are going to be. We don't know what the tracks are going to be. It is 20. We got 2 25% races. The first race is one-shot qualifying, and I usually suck at one-shot qualifying, so that's going to be interesting as well. And do you want to know the fun thing about this as well? Yourself and me, James, we're going to be teammates. What do you think of that?
I'm excited. I'm excited to team up with a Red Bull Racing development driver right now. So I'm very, very much looking forward to it. You might have to pull the weight a little bit, to be honest. But
excuse me, you're quicker than me on this game.
Oh, well, I'll have to pull the weight then.
You're probably going to be carrying me, to be fair. But yeah, it is going to be interesting. There are going to be 2 commentators that don't race on this game that are going to cover the action. I believe it's Sappy and SJ, if I'm not too mistaken. They will take you through the action, and yeah, it's just going to be a fun PSGL stream to wrap up the season, pretty much. I'm looking forward to it, but that's out of the way. James, can you tell us the other streams that we got to wrap up 2023 for this week?
Can indeed. We've got Gran Turismo coming up at 8 p.m. UK time tomorrow evening. I believe it is Alsace, if I'm not mistaken.
It is France.
I will double check that. I know it is France. I think France, they've only got Le Mans and Alsace in the game, so I think it might be Alsace rather than anything. In fact, I can actually have a look at the GT calendar, and it is Circuit de Saint-Croix. B Reverse is the actual track. It's one of my favourite tracks, actually, on the game. So definitely going to be interesting that. 8 p.m. UK time, of course, for that. And then we've got PSGL E-Series, of course, on Wednesday for our eSport, already wrapping up the championship of Veloce Academy. Looking to wrap up second. Can they do so with some very, very good teams in behind? I think it's a 3 or 4-way fight for second going into the final race of the season. You can tune in for that as well. I believe that is at 7 p.m. UK time on Wednesday, and that is with Mr. Nathan Richards and Mr. JGM, who is going to be taking you through the action. And what a pairing that is as well, considering they were part of the 24 Hours of F1 lineup at the weekend as well.
And Nathan had to do a bit of singing as well. I had to as well.
So
but
did you.
Nathan had to sing twice. He was Elsa for, I think it was just after Singapore, I believe, that got cancelled. And then he was Bob the Builder. So...
Nelsa. Nelsa is now his new nickname. He's gonna have that
I'm calling him that
on
Thursday, by the way. I'm calling that on Thursday. Anyway, on that bombshell, we're going to wrap things up. Make sure you check out our title sponsor, GT Omega. 5% off all GT Omega products by using the code PSGL at checkout. They're doing a Christmas sale at the moment, so make sure you check that out if you want an early Christmas present. Beg to your parents if you can't afford it. Thank you very much. Make sure you like this video. Also, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell if you're new. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at PremierSteamGL. Follow us on Discord as well. The drivers are going to take a well-earned break, and we are going to be racing back on the 8th of January around Spain. We've got Spain, Miami, Britain and Bahrain to round off the season. 4 rounds left. I don't know who's still leading the championship, but it's going to get even crazy from then on. But if you want to catch us on Thursday, 7 p.m. UK time for the commentators camp, where we'll be on the racetrack, make sure you cheer us on, not those PC players, because they're going to be absolutely sweating it. Cheer on for us console players and we'll be good. Anyway, we're going to wrap things up. Have a good evening. We'll leave you with our title sponsors for one final time. We'll see you in 2024 for the final 4 rounds of the season, kicking it off with the Spanish Grand Prix. Goodbye.
Desperately trying to hang on. He's got the inside. All here is through on the left-hand side. Hooks the apex, gets all the power nicely, and that is job done. Jarno Opmeer now to the last couple of corners now. His finest drive, his greatest drive, and he's done it at the Circuit of the Americas. He returns to the top step of the podium. Once again, the GOAT is back. Jarno Opmeer wins the US Grand Prix in a stunning Grand Prix.